So before I leave to embark on the xTexas trail, I wanted to put out a video describing how I handle emergency situations on trail and the system I have in place in case something does go wrong. This system has been dialed in over the years through trial and error, mainly error. Most of this system revolves around one person, my lifelong friend who we're going to be talking about a lot in this video, Brandon. And all of the power that this man has lies within this envelope. Brandon is my medical power of attorney, or MPOA, and what that means is that if I have an emergency on trail and I cannot make decisions for myself, he legally takes over and makes all of the medical decisions for me. A medical power of attorney is something that most people don't have, but should. So I want to explain why Brandon was selected for this role and explain a bit more about the role he plays. The attributes I was looking for in an MPOA were someone I trusted, cool-headed, dependable, not related to me, and not a romantic partner. Sorry, Brandon. Now, Brandon is someone I've known almost my entire life. We've been there for each other in good times and bad. We have great communication, and he is literally someone I trust with my life, and I trust his opinion on everything. A real-life example of this is back in 2023, I got a life-threatening condition called rhabdomyolysis, of which I was using poor judgment and wasn't going to the hospital for. People kept saying I should go, and I just kind of put it off, but it wasn't until Brandon recommended that I seek medical treatment that I finally went. If he were saying it, it was serious. Luckily, going to the hospital quite possibly saved my life, because untreated rhabdomyolysis can lead to kidney failure, then it is important that my medical power of attorney has no immediate relation to me, and here's why. Family and romantic partners in a moment of crisis may use poor judgment. They may make medical decisions that are best for them emotionally, but not best for me medically or in terms of quality of life. And it's not really their fault. That is a natural human response. And that's why an MPOA is so important. You try to take those reactionary decisions out of it. A famous case of this was Terry Schiavo, who unfortunately went through 15 years of hell because of emotional decisions like this made by her family. All of this could have been subverted with a living will and an MPOA. Mine is basically written around one idea: quality of life. Anything worse than a broken arm, Brandon takes care of it. So my MPOA paperwork puts a large barrier between me and anyone who may make those reactionary emotional decisions. If for some reason Brandon can't make those decisions for whatever reason, there are 2 more people in line to make those decisions. So 3 people have to deny their duties before any decision can be made by a family member or my partner. So this paperwork protects me, my family, and my partner. Now, while I'm on trail, I also have a very specific system for emergencies that's set up to protect me and to keep a barrier between myself and reactionary people. So I almost always carry a Garmin inReach 2 on my shoulder strap. It's an SOS transponder that works via satellite because I'm not always in cell reception. So this basically ensures that I almost always have a way to communicate with Brandon. And what I just said was very deliberate: communicate with Brandon. While on trail, I have only one person that I'm required to check in with and no one else. The reason for this is that there's only one person that can call emergency services. So Brandon has a list of people to contact if something goes wrong. The reason for this is twofold. Number one, I trust him to make good decisions if he needs to call emergency services. Secondly, it became difficult to check in with everyone on trail. And I'm generally trying to conserve power lots of the time because it can really drain my cell battery to try to communicate with 30 people. So with this system, the assumption is no news is good news. If you don't hear from Brandon, the assumption is everything is fine. No one in my immediate circle can call emergency services except him. The design around this is that there are times that I get behind schedule for some reason or another, and I don't want search and rescue to be called when basically I'm just a day behind schedule. Brandon and I always set check-in times and have a buffer, usually 24 to 48 hours, where if I'm behind schedule or something does go wrong, I have time to get myself out. So this keeps a barrier between me and anyone who may panic in that moment. Now, if I'm going to be doing something more dangerous, we set hard deadlines. An example of this is last summer I was doing a route where I had to swim across the Rio Grande River with a pack on, then climb out of the canyon with no climbing gear. The whole situation was dangerous, so before I began any of this, I texted Brandon via satellite stating that if you do not get a check-in within the next 4 hours, to call emergency services. And then I sent him a real-time ping of my location that he could share with search and rescue. I then waited for confirmation before beginning the next segment. So once I got to the top of the canyon, I checked in with him and then literally cried for a few minutes because I can't really swim and I'm afraid of heights. So in those instances, there is no buffer because if he doesn't hear from me, that means something did go wrong. So this is essentially my plan for emergencies, and if things go sideways, it protects me, my loved ones, and search and rescue teams from danger or miscommunications. Is there anything else that you want to know about this process? Put it in the comments. Also, if you're interested in the Garmin inReach 2, I have an affiliate link posted below which helps the channel out, and thanks for watching. It's also important to note that Brandon is also my beneficiary, which is a conflict of interest. Most of this system revolves around one person. The attributes So my MPOA paperwork puts a large barrier between me and anyone who may make those reactionary, emotional, that wasn't good. I have an emergency on trail and I cannot make medical decisions for my... Luckily, going to the hospital quite possibly saved my life.